Support WrestleTalk!
It's time for our Crown Jewel 2023 predictions. I am Luke Owen, DAD, and I'm joined by the Professor of the Truth, your Jam That Champion, Dan Layton. Welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast. Please do press the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave your comment down below with your predictions for Crown Jewel 2023. And if you want to join in prediction warfare with us, join Wrestle League, the link for which is in the video description down below. It is a free service where you can predict wrestling pay-per-views from WWE, AEW, and the like against each other.
Like fantasy football, but for wrestling.
For wrestling predictions, and there are prizes to be won. Like Funhouse, there's a whole lot of fun, and there are prizes to be won.
Quite.
It is a real wacky show, and anything goes.
Is Funhouse the one with the little cars?
Yes, it is, yeah.
There are unfortunately no cars in Wrestle League.
No, well, I mean, Fastlane.
You could do, that's true, and you could like I wouldn't encourage you to do this, but you could do your predictions on Dodgems.
Yeah, you could do, yeah. Don't do it while driving, though.
No, just
we don't
park
encourage
the
that.
Dodgem in a corner, do your predictions, and then dodge back out.
Dodge back out. So we're going to go through our predictions for this show now. And if you want to see how our predictions come to fruition, then come down to the Long Arm Pub and Brewery this Saturday for our Crown Jewel watch party. Tickets are available in the link in the video description down below. It is me versus you for the Jam That Championship. And I'm going to win back my title in front of my people.
I'm going to demolish you all for a good cause.
And we are raising money for charity, so absolutely do get involved with the charity side of things as well. And cheer me on as I destroy Dan Layton. Dan, we've got an 8-match card.
And it's pretty big.
I mean, yeah, because
matches.
The last 2 have been 5-match cards. 8 seems massive.
Yeah, is that including the kickoff?
It does include the kickoff,
Yeah.
because for the first time in a long time, years,
Yeah.
it feels like, we have got a match on the kickoff show. And it's Sami Zayn versus JD McDonagh.
Just announced.
Which, certainly feels like it's a top of the second hour Raw match.
Yeah.
So it's
Very much.
actually right at home on the pre-show.
There you go.
I'll go first,
will you?
although it is champion's advantage.
Well, I feel like we're pretty much going to be on the same level either way. But
Yeah, I'll tell you, as champion, you go first.
I'm predicting Sami Zayn is going to have a it's not a hometown thing, but it's like the feel good. We had it at the Night of Champions event moment. I think they're going to give Sami a little moment here.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm also going with Sami Zayn.
To be abundantly clear, it's very not a hometown thing. Like but I'm not going to go there.
Up next, shall we do Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship?
Let's have a conversation about this match.
I said on the 3 counts over on the WrestleTalk News channel, I think this will end up being Logan Paul's best match. And that's saying a lot because he's had a lot of very good matches in WWE. I think going in there with Rey, I think they're going to tear this place up.
Well, part of the reason Logan's had such a good run is that he's been wrestling with very competent, very good, very safe, very talented workers, who are able to... He's also got natural athleticism. Like, I don't want to take anything away from the guy, but like... anyone can have a good match when it's rehearsed to win an inch of its life, kind of thing, is the John Morrison line. And Rey Mysterio is one of the greatest of all time. So this is going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Prediction-wise.
Logan Paul.
You think Logan Paul?
I think Logan Paul is winning the United States Championship on this show.
I think there is a very strong argument to be made that Logan Paul wins. My only question is, what does that run look like? Because then you are titleless on SmackDown, because when is his next show? Do we think they've got him for Survivor Series? Do they think he's going to defend it at the Royal Rumble? He's more than likely not going to be in the Royal Rumble like last year. They got a great viral moment from it.
Which actually might lend the credence that he will be in the Royal Rumble.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said he won't be in the Royal Rumble.
So they might defend it at the Royal Rumble, but at the Royal Rumble he might be in the match.
Yeah, okay, I see your point.
So the question is not so much like, because I think it would be... I think it would be a smart choice for Logan to win, and I'm tempted to make that my pick as well. My question is just, when does he defend it again?
I mean, I'd imagine it's not going to be a long run. Like, you could probably just hold on to this thing till Survivor Series.
Survivor Series is another good shout.
I just think that in this new endeavor era of WWE, I think mainstream pub is something they're going to be after.
Yeah.
And so I just think putting the title on Logan Paul, it's a title that doesn't really mean a whole deal of anything. So like,
hey, there are several lists on partsFUNknown that you can watch right now that have things to say about that.
So it's like, I don't think it devalues the belt in any way.
Yeah,
like,
I
so
agree with that.
I actually think if anything, it's going to elevate the title, and I think that it would be cool to have Logan Paul showing up at whatever celebrity things that he does.
I'm going to double down on. I think I'm going to agree and say Logan Paul, and the main reason is A, publicity, but B, Chicago and Survivor Series is a great crowd for someone to win it back off him. You know, whether that be Ray, whether that be someone else. I just think publicity-wise, I agree on that front. Yeah.
So you're also going with Logan Paul?
Also going with Logan Paul.
Okay, well, let's then do John Cena versus Solo Sikoa.
Now, this is another complicated one. I think the thing about this show overall...
I don't think this one is.
The reason it is because last time around I was like, what if they wanted to put over and build to a John Cena LA Knight match? That is the opposite of what they decided to do. They had John Cena and LA Knight win to put LA Knight in the main event scene. Solo Sikoa is a genuinely hot prospect, I think. To the point where, remember when they had the match with Cody at the start of the final road to WrestleMania, and it felt like, oh, neither of them have lost, and this feels like a moment.
Very well protected.
Do you see? I think that's what I mean about Solo. So again, if you want to make a statement about the bloodline, about Solo Sikoa, about whatever, having him win a match over John Cena, as they did with Roman Reigns, is probably a smart shout. Do you feel it? Not that.
I feel like you and I are going to have the exact same conversation we had in our Fastlane predictions when you were being like, wouldn't it be interesting if they did this? And my account of that is, this is the John Cena nostalgia run.
Yeah.
John Cena wins, lol. Like, this is Cena wins, lol. This is part of, like, this is the end of the comeback tour currently, because he said at the Fastlane post-show, or whichever post-show it was recently, I'm done. Like, once the strikes are over, I'm going back to my acting work. I'm leaving wrestling. I'm going back to my acting work. They reckon the strikes are probably going to go on for a little bit longer.
Because the MTP are cowards.
Yeah, so there's every chance that
Allegedly.
he might have some more, like, he could have a run to Survivor Series, maybe a run into the Rumble if, you know, if the work is going for him. But this is like, this whole build is, I haven't won a singles match in however many thousands of days it is. So he gets a win here. And you're right on Solo 8 months ago.
Well, this is it.
He is not a protected character anymore.
Yeah.
He can just take pinfalls on TV. And regularly, I would say, take pinfalls on TV. Like, he's put in tag matches so he can take pinfalls on TV and stuff. He's not as protected as he once was. So I don't think losing to John Cena. But also, here's my chips I'm going to put on the table. This is going to be the most boring match on the card.
I'd be inclined to agree with you. I think... The thing is, John Cena lost to Austin Theory. I'm thinking back to losing to Roman Reigns. It does say something. Austin Theory is a really bad example.
Come on, Dan.
It should, if I may, it should say something
Yes.
to beat John Cena. That's the point I'm trying to make.
You should.
And if they want to have Solo Sikoa go over, I don't know. I'm just gonna trust my source and say I think that. Well, hang on. Let's have a look at the card. Yeah, I'm going to say Solo wins it. Why not? Let's have a bit of spice.
Yeah. I mean, I like it.
I think Solo should win it.
Look, I'll say exactly what I said at the Fastlane predictions. I would love it if you're right.
Yeah.
Because it would be way more interesting. But I don't think that's what we're going for here. Up next for nothing really, but it is Cody Rhodes versus Damien Priest.
I'm going to go ahead on this one first and say that Cody Rhodes is winning this. I think Damien Priest is in for a big night. And I think it begins here with a Judgment Day kerfuffle that has Damien lose this match. Judgment Day are going to lose Damien Priest this match. Cody Rhodes will win it, and that will... Because basically the end of Raw promo from Cody Rhodes this week was very much like, you're a follower, very much putting him down, putting that little seed in his mind. We've had this whole dissension in the Judgment Day thing. I think this could be the show where it all comes to a head. Personally,
I absolutely agree with you. I think that Damien Priest is losing here. He's going to take the L. Cody Rhodes gets the win because Priest is going to cash in later on in the evening.
That's my working theory.
And I really like it as a working theory, and I completely agree with it. Like, they even set this up on Raw this week as well. Like this, of like, hey, this weekend, cash in. They were really heavily hammering that home, the idea that he will probably cash in this weekend. And you and I theorized this on Raw a couple of weeks back on the Raw podcast. You could do the Mania 31, the inverse of Mania 31. It's now on Seth, of Damien Priest loses in the opener or early in the card, and that sets him up to cash in later on in the night, heist of the century. Yeah. And I don't think he'll end the show because Roman will end the show, but he'll end the Raw side of the show as the World Heavyweight Champion.
I think that's his sort of semi-main moment with a big moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, the X factor here is the Saudi crowd, who aren't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not like rabid in the same way that a Chicago, a London, a Puerto Rico, a Germany, I imagine. We'll see when we get to Bash in Berlin, but that's how I feel about that one.
Up next for the WWE Women's Championship, it is Iyo Sky defending against the returning Bianca Belair. I'll go first on this one. Belair wins.
You think Belair's going to win? Work me through your working.
I still think the WrestleMania match is Belair-Charlotte.
Right.
And so at some point, you're going to need to put the belt onto one of those two. And I think this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sort of looking at this card because there's every chance that Ray retains the title. Because like you made this point earlier, it's like, what do you do with Logan Paul after he's won the belt? And I actually 100% agree with you on that one. So there's actually an argument to make that no other title is going to change hands on this show. So I think you want to have a moment on here. And Belair winning is a moment that you could have on this show.
Well, that was my Oscar logic. You know, we'd got at that point on Night of Champions, none of the other belts seemed to be changing, except for the World Heavyweight title, which was being won rather than being changed. And Belair had just beaten the streak of the longest running modern women's champion. So it felt like a natural change. Long reigns are... There's one belt with a massively long reign, two belts with a massively long reign, and then the others are sort of in between. With this one, thus it becomes much harder to predict, was the end of that thought. With this one, though, I do see the logic there of Belair versus Charlotte being the main event. And it's Survivor Series being so close and then the Royal Rumble, because do you have someone win the Royal Rumble and take it from... Does, for instance, Charlotte win the Rumble and challenge Belair? Does Becky win the Rumble and challenge Rhea? This is what's in... Spoilers for later on. So it's a curious thing. I want Iyo Sky to retain. I don't see it happening. I am going to also pick Belair.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I'm pretty pegged on with Belair. Like in my Wrestle League predictions, I've got Belair. Might want to move just random.
I just got poked by a thingy.
Totally a sex tape. Okay. I'm trying to think, like, do I want to change mine just to try and spice things up a little bit when it comes to our predictions? Like when we go to our Jam That Championship line, because I'm not against the idea. Like I'm pretty pegged on that Belair is winning. However, I think there is a chance that Sky retains.
Again, it's trying to think what happens next, and maybe that's poor logic on my part. Belair retaining, having a rematch with Iyo Sky, or having some form of follow-up contest with Bayley. I don't know when Dakota Kai is due to return to physical competition.
Like, the Rumble time, really.
So around that time, you could maybe relook at Damage Control as a unit, as a tag team. Iyo goes back into the sort of tag division. I thought about Iyo versus Asuka. You also have the potential to do a story with Asuka leading up to the Royal Rumble to keep Belair busy. I think more story possibilities come out of Bianca winning this belt here. Do I think that's going to be the most satisfying for the audience at home? No. Will we get some great matches out of it? Yes.
I'm going to change my prediction to Iyo.
Please tell me why.
Because Spice.
You're going to try and...
I'm doing it for Spice. I'm doing it for Spice reasons when we come to Crown Jewel.
And it's a championship match. It's worth double.
It's worth double points.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to change mine up to Sky. And we'll see where we go from there.
Fair play.
So we've done Iyo Sky, we've done John Cena, we've done Cody Rhodes, we've done Logan Paul. We've done
three main events.
Three main events. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Stark versus Raquel Rodriguez. I think this one's pretty nailed on.
Yeah, this one's pretty clear. I think all five of these women have a lot going for them in various different ways. But I think this is a way to protect all five singles matches. Personally, Rhea Ripley will retain here.
I think so. I'm also going for Rhea Ripley on this one. I think this one's a fairly cut and dry one. I think more than likely she's going to pin Zoe Stark.
Yes, probably. Yeah. Which won't have any negative impact on Zoe Stark, I think.
It won't indeed, no. Up next for the World Heavyweight Championship, it is Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. I think both you and I are pretty... We're pretty confident on Damien Priest cashing in.
Yes.
So the question then becomes, for our purposes, we have to pick between the two. But in your mind, is it a triple threat or is it a post?
Well, I am inclined to see it as a post. I think there are multiple satisfying conclusions here. The first one being Drew cashes in afterwards on a Seth who has been beaten down by Nakamura, by the sheer brutality of Drew McIntyre, cashes in, takes the moment, because the story has been sort of Seth and Judgment Day. They've been in every main event since the year dot this year. So there's something satisfying to be done with there. You've got the Seth on Raw this week saying, like, don't waste that on me, buddy. Last year, Seth was cashed in on and retained. So that's satisfying. You also have the idea of Drew McIntyre getting his moment in front of a stadium and it lasts all of 5 seconds. There's something really interesting about that. I don't see it as an insert. Do you see it as an insert?
Only if I'm doing my WrestleMania 31 logic.
Yeah.
But I'm not like married to that idea. It was just a potential idea I was sort of throwing out. I was like, oh, this is something you could do. I think it is going to be a post-match thing, though. Yeah. Because, like, you know, Rhea Ripley on Raw was like, it is whoever decides is going to use us is going to come out the winner of this match. Which actually really also points to the idea that it could be a triple threat, because Priest inserts himself into the match and they help him win.
Yes.
And so it is the person that chose the Judgment Day was the one who walked out the champion.
Right. That's interesting.
Which is quite a nice little bit of foreshadowing, I suppose.
Yeah. It's my one was more that, like, the pack has never worked and he's decided he's going to be a leader now.
Which I really like.
I've been making the decision... Rhea has been making the decision for me, like, and she's been right. Is the other thing about that makes it narratively satisfying to me, is that she was right to stop him from doing it against Seth at the end of
Fastlane.
Thank you. What was the most recent pay-per-view? Wow, it was forgettable. Fastlane.
Fun show, though.
Yeah, fun. Anyway, this Crown Jewel. So yeah, the idea that they then cost him against Cody, which is a way of not just having him eat a clean old L for no reason. Which then is the driving force that makes him decide, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to make the choice for me against the Judgment Day. And it never worked for Finn, but it's working for me kind of thing. That's why I feel that it's going to go. It could go the other way as well. I think it's probably going to be Seth retaining here. Again, it's what's the follow-up story? Yeah. You could have, because Drew has been doing such an incredible job of this... this sort of like turn, this postmodern turn, kind of this idea of I'm going to turn, but I'm actually not going to be objectively a heel with it. Cody's got a clean win over the new champion. Surely I should get a go at that kind of thing. And then Drew comes in and is like, hang on a second, I was cheated out of that. Bang, bang, bang.
That's which is why I really like Drew winning. Drew wins the title in front of a crowd, and it's stolen from him 5 minutes later. And it goes back into Seth's saying of like, you're always blaming other people. But that also really works if Seth retains. And I have gone with Seth in Wrestle League. And I think I'm going to say Seth again. No, I'm going to say Drew.
Okay.
I'm going to say Drew for the spice.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Drew McIntyre.
And I'm going to stick with Seth. I think... I'm also aware that there's War Games coming up, so I'm like, I don't want to overthink the next period of booking. Also, we're just having a little bit of fun here. It doesn't really matter. Except it really does matter. This is mine. You're never going to take it from me.
This matters a lot.
This matters very much. Yeah, I think you're saying Drew.
I'm going to say Drew.
And I'm going to say Seth.
Which brings us to our main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. It is Roman Reigns defending against LA Knight. Yeah. That's Roman's retaining, right?
Probably.
I don't even think it's a probably. I think
that is a 99% probably.
I think this is a for sure. Like Sami Zayn had said that's a 99% probably. This feels like this is a 99. Actually, no, I'm going to say this is a 100% probably.
I mean, look, probably Roman is my pick as well. Before we get to the end of this, we'll just see if I can talk myself out of it.
Okay.
I'm
picking Roman.
Which is that one of the critiques they've always got is they never strike while the iron is hot, and in this case, I think they missed their opportunity with Cody Rhodes. That's not a hot take, even though some people treat it like it's a hot take. And I think LA Knight is so good and over, and it's one of those things where it would be a very quick build to take it off Roman, but he kind of has this whole... the way he walked past him, sat at the head of the table, that promo he cut, God, it was great. When's LA Knight's next go? That's my question. Where's Roman going? What's the plan? What are you going to do? Then again, that's the Roman Reigns story. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick with Roman Reigns as the win. But this is another. How many more golden opportunities? They've Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, LA Knight in this case. How many more golden opportunities do you want to present yourself? Arguably, that's actually a really good thing on their part to have so many worthy challenges.
It's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination.
The bad thing is 1,474 days. I don't want that. And then I saw someone be like, keep it on him and then have Gunther take it off him at Bash at Berlin. But I cannot stress this enough. Gunther is Austrian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's not. But this is true. Like Drew was going to win it in Wales.
Yeah.
His home
country.
You know, his home nation, his home British Isles nation.
Yeah.
To try and lump us all together. Which, in fairness, we do.
We are the United Kingdom of Great Britain.
Well, we do it when Scottish, tennis players are doing well. And then if they're not doing well, then they're Scottish.
I don't do that.
But if they're doing well, they're British.
I'm the world's most liberal unionist.
I do not see any benefit in putting it on LA Knight.
You don't see any benefit?
I don't see any benefit in just stopping this Roman Reigns story. Now, for the record, this Roman Reigns story stopped at SummerSlam.
Right, which is why
it has not progressed.
Which is why the belt should have come off him at WrestleMania.
But we are moving closer towards Rumble season and WrestleMania. So we're so close now to WrestleMania 40. There is no benefit to putting this on LA Knight. Because what you may end up doing is then just putting it back on Roman to build to WrestleMania. And I'm just a bit of a 97 mindset at the moment because I did Halloween Havoc 97 for WrestleTalk Extra. But they were doing this whole thing of building to Hogan versus Sting at Starrcade. And in the middle of it, Luger got hot. So to put the belt on Luger. And then they were like, but really, we want to get back to Hogan versus Sting. So we just put the belt back on Sting. And then we sort of pretend the Luger thing didn't happen. But it's already happened. And then Piper beats Hogan at Halloween Havoc. And then 2 months later, it's meant to be like, and Sting has finally conquered Hogan. I was like, well, I've already seen 2 people beat him. If your whole story is, and we are building to Roman and Cody, then I don't think a good outcome here is to have LA Knight just beat him.
That's completely fair. And I do think whenever I thought about how do you make it interesting so that it doesn't feel like on the morning after WrestleMania 40 Night 2, if Cody Rhodes is the champion, and it remains an if.
Because when he gets to that point, he's like, well, the Hogan reign's only down the road.
This is what I'm talking about. I'm sat there and I'm like, if that's where we're going to go, the morning after we wake up and we're like, God, that year was a waste of time kind of thing. I've always thought about it would be far more interesting to do Roman Cody 2 with the reverse. So Cody's the champ going into WrestleMania and have Roman make a splash by winning the Royal Rumble, having go away for ages. That's what I would have personally done. But, that then means you've got LA Knight and Cody Rhodes. You have to get it from LA Knight to Cody. I think at this point, we're so deep in it that it has to be Roman.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But this is all a logic hole of their own making.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah,
and that's so frustrating.
This is putting yourself into a corner. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, I don't see any benefits in putting it on LA Knight at this point. And down the line, yes. And you're absolutely right about striking while the iron is hot. But this is not the right iron, and it's not the right time.
Because could you imagine all this is why this idea that Cody winning, everyone should stop talking about it and complaining. Could you imagine, and it's been a great year, but could you imagine if Cody had won at WrestleMania, you completed the Bloodline story at SummerSlam, it had been very impressive and brilliant and wonderful, we'd had all of these good things, and we're building up to the idea of, could LA Knight beat Cody Rhodes for this belt at this pay-per-view kind of thing? You have, instead of having a bunch of meandering stories, and we all know that's where we're going to get to, and then it's going to be a question of whether or not it's going to be satisfying, versus having loads of different stories.
Because as well,
that's why that should have happened.
To your point as well, Roman's not advertised for Survivor Series.
Nope.
And so that means
the reports are suggesting he's not going to be there, let alone not advertised right now.
So he's not going to be at Survivor Series, which means his next title defense will probably be at the Rumble, which is
maybe at the end of the year,
which is maybe like a special SmackDown or something,
a World's End.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. They'll probably pick up the AJ storyline in sort of Rumble time. You've also got Bobby Lashley sort of waiting in the wings as well, which might be sort of that you'll do that in February before we get back to Cody Rhodes, which I still feel like that's the destination, I guess. I don't think that many people are into that idea, but hey, you've got 5 months to get people into it, and you can get people into it in 5 months. That's, it's almost half a year. So I say you stick to the plan, you stick with Roman, and LA Knight will get his time some other time.
I think that's probably I think we're aligned on that. I just think it's a problem of their own doing.
Who's your Joker pick? So our Joker picks are double points, which means if you put it onto a title match, that's double on top of the double points already, because singles matches are worth 1, championship matches are worth 2 points. But if you put your Joker on it, it's worth 4 points on a championship match. However, if you're wrong, you lose 4 points. So it's risk and reward.
Champion's advantage, and having that conversation means I should put it on Roman, but I'm going to put it on Rhea Ripley.
Okay, that's
because I think that's more likely nailed on. There's the 1%. I think that's my 100% match. If it could be Spice. It could be Spice. I just don't see it.
There's part of me that wants to put it on Logan.
Right.
That's
fun.
That's my Joker pick.
If you want some Spice.
Because Roman's the safe option.
Yeah.
Like, to almost guarantee myself 4 points. I'll put on Logan Paul.
Oh! Spicy!
Logan Paul's my Joker pick.
There it is. So
yeah, there you go.
So what you're saying is there is 1% that LA Knight could win.
No, I'm just doing it for the Spice.
You're just doing it for Spice.
Yeah, I'm literally just doing it for Spice.
There's always 1%.
If I was to be a sensible person, I would put it on Roman Reigns.
Yeah, but if you were a sensible person, you wouldn't be Luke Owen.
And on that bombshell, thank you all so much for joining us today. Get your predictions in the comments down below. Get your tickets to come and watch Crown Jewel this weekend with us on the WrestleTalk crew. We're going to be down at the Long Arm Pub and Brewery. Tickets are available in the link in the video description down below. We're also doing live No Holds Barred beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
But hot dog, it's sold out. So you can only get tickets now for the Crown Jewel experience itself. Myself, Dan will be down there. Ollie Davis will be there. Tempest will be there. Many faces from the WrestleTalk and partsFUNknown family will be there in attendance.
Imagine if LA Knight wins the belt and you're in the room with all of us. Imagine that. Imagine what that will feel like.
Imagine what it's going to feel like when Damien Priest cashes in, or if he cashes in and you're in that crowd there. Imagine.
Okay. Do you remember when Asuka won the belt at Night of Champions?
I bring this up a lot. I brought this up on the 3 count as well. I'm going to shout the lad out again. There was a lad who was heelishly drinking Prime at our Money in the Bank show when Logan Paul came out and everyone was booing him for it, like ferociously. He, at the front, cracked open a bottle of Prime and drank it. Can you imagine being in that crowd when Logan Paul beats Rey Mysterio to win the United States Championship?
Just think of the moments that have happened at our live shows. Like we had Jay and Jimmy kicking Roman. We had it was Jimmy kicking Roman, wasn't it? Jimmy super kick Roman. We had Jay pinning Roman. We had John Cena just popping up out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
we had some really great stuff happen.
Our Clash of the Castle one.
Yeah,
with, kick your dad, hit your dad.
Yeah.
With the Dominic turn.
Big time.
It is a great time. It is the best way to watch wrestling pay-per-view. So come and join us for our Crown Jewel watch party. Tickets are available in the link in the video description down below. And also join Wrestle League and predict against us because there are prizes to be won. We'll see you on Saturday for our live reactions to WWE Crown Jewel 2023. Until then, I've been Luke Owen, DAD. That has been the Professor of the Truth, your Jam That Champion, Dan Layton. Jam that jam.